Hey, good afternoon, Drew. How are you doing? It's great to see you
Hey,
again.
yeah, man. Good afternoon, man. It's October 8th, 2023, man, and here we are again, and excited to talk to you about the second half of the Shears uh, diagram that we've designed together.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, it would be really good to talk through this. We talked about the first three letters: skills, habits, and energy last week, and we wanted to follow up with attitude, relationships, and service. I could see that you dressed up for me today, wearing your orange jumpsuit. I really appreciate that. I know earlier you were claiming that it's red. You must be voting for the Chiefs this week since the Seahawks aren't playing. You know, it doesn't look red from here though. That's a weak red.
Yeah, man.
We got to work on
I'm
that.
getting ready to be an adopted Chiefs fan when I come down to Kansas City to see
All
you.
right.
So I got to get used to this color. This is the working color over here.
Yeah.
So when you work, you get red clothes.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully, they didn't put stripes on it for me.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense that they would, consider red as a higher level of, status symbol, of where you guys are at. But
No,
it
that's
sounds
not
it
it at
sounds
all.
like you're
It
on the
looks down more.
bandwagon.
You stand out more. So should you scurry away, you're wearing bright red clothing.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, it's about being visible. I'm surprised it's not like neon green. Of course, probably now that I said it, they're probably going to do it.
No, that'd be too.
So yeah, man. So we're going to talk about attitudes, relationship, service. We said last week that the inner triangle of life was the development of skills, which we all need. Okay, the development of skills, that you need habits to support these skills, and then you need to give yourself energy. And these three things working together is the inner triune thing of life.
Yep.
And I think you and I both kind of gave some examples last week. But the ultimate thing is, out of this, your skills, habits, and energy comes your attitude. And I said that's kind of where I went bankrupt out there, because my attitude went downhill, and then I not only did I have the wrong relationships, but I drew the wrong things out of the relationships that I did have. So I wasn't able to put good effort or energy into anybody else because I didn't have good effort or energy going on in my own life.
Yep.
And so my bad attitude led to bad relationships, and my bad relationships led to service. And when I say service, people have to understand how we're framing service. So how would you kind of define, because service is what we're trying to get to. That's what we're saying. Like in life, it's what you bring to the table. That is your service. So how do you look at service, and why do we use the word service?
Yeah, I like how you said that. In life, what do you bring to the table? What is the reason why you're working hard? Is it just about yourself, or are you trying to contribute to a bigger good, to the benefit of others? And I guess from an ideal perspective, and I think I've been spoiled because I was able to serve in the military and finish out as a special forces officer. I was able to, you know be dedicated and sacrifice and work really hard because I believed in military service and in our country. And so to me, then it became a profound calling and something I was willing to contribute to. And so much so, I asked my family to sacrifice, right with me, through those long deployments, go live overseas in Japan and in Korea for over 4 years, and then to suffer through me being gone. So I mean, the ideal would be, because everybody has to work for a living, you have to work to survive, but it would be nice to be able to contribute to something that you have a profound aspiration for, or respect for. And so then your service has more meaning than just the work you're putting into it. Ideally, you could make wealth through profound service. And I think people can achieve that when they're really contributing to others, and it's something they really love and it hits their why. And when you can get that into that shock group, like really tight, that's when you can really get good meaning out of your existence and your journey. So that's sort of how I wrap up the
No,
service.
I like that. You know, I had a pastor one time, Pastor Sindawala. He said the husband is the number one servant of the family. And that really impacted me when he said that to me, because it made me realize to be the head of something is really to be the greater servant in that situation. And when I think of servant, I think of service.
Yeah.
And what I bring to the table, what I'm known for, you know, my bad attitude led to my unhealthy relationships and friendships I had in my life, which led to the things I did, which is why I'm here. You
Yep.
know, and I've talked in past episodes of that, and I don't want to rehash that, but that was my service at that point in life. And then, you know, I began to change my heart. I began to change the way I think. I started developing skills. I started having good habits. I started working out, eating tuna and rice and running and lifting weights.
Yep.
And I got a better attitude. And when I had a better attitude, I started not only having better friendships, so mind you, I'm in the depths of prison. I'm in closed custody at this time. It wasn't that, I'm not saying that, oh, get a better attitude and then you'll just completely get all new friends and they're better people. You know, sometimes it's the same people in your life, but your better attitude, because of your inner triangle, now you're able to draw out the best in others. So really, it's not about people replacement. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have to do people replacement in your life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I just need to be a better servant to the people in my life. I need to do it like a farmer. I need to do more work, till the ground a little bit more, and I can bring a new fruit out of somebody's life when I start to bring their fruit out of my own life. And then those relationships set the ceiling for the impact I can have in life.
Yep.
The impact I can have in my family and in my community and in my church and with people that I meet. And so that's why I really like that service. That's the outer law. That's what you'll be known for.
Yep.
No one's really going to come to your funeral and speak about, oh, he learned this skill. You know, he was really good at math. He was an engineer. He was a plumber. You know, he woke up really early in the morning. Now, maybe your wife or someone close to you will say these things, but ultimately, it's that service impact. The last letter in the SHEARS acronym that you'll be remembered for.
Yep.
And that meant a lot to me. And when you and I developed that together, that really impacted me, because so many of us in prison want to be remembered for more than just the worst thing that we ever did.
Yeah, that is really good. And one thing that here, hold 1 second.
Can't walk off stage.
Oh, I did. Hey, well, you know what though? I made it so that you can't see me. I blew your face up, so like you're bigger than Dallas. But now I'm back.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, I had
Oh, man.
I had the dog, of course, come to my office door. I don't know if you could hear him, and he just starts barking his head off. And I got my son sitting downstairs, and who knows what the heck they're doing. They're not responding to the barking dog. They know that I'm up here trying to create a video, but that's life. But if you looked at my face expressions, they probably could see the little steam coming out my ears. They're like, "Come on, guys, get the dog." Yeah. But yeah, you know what? You hit on, yeah, service of others. How do you treat people with dignity and respect? Do you do unto others as you want done unto you? Are you enabling their success? Do you have like a growth abundant mindset? You're not in competition. You want everybody to succeed, and do you believe that other people's success is not going to be a detriment to you? I think that ties into attitude. I think that's really important to make a difference in this world. And and also, you don't have to serve in the military. You don't have to be a fireman or a policeman or whatever. You can serve others in the work that you do. Now, ideally, you don't want to be just making wealth and surviving through mundane work, but but sometimes you have to. But when you do that work, even if you're a dishwasher or a waiter or a waitress, you can still bring brightness and happiness and joy to other people's lives through hard work,
Yeah.
and really make a difference in all the people that you touch. And then your hard work to bring home the bacon can then enable you to contribute to your family and leave a legacy through the family that follows behind you. And so I think that you can find service in whatever you're doing, as long as you're just not isolated by yourself, playing video games. But the one thing I liked how you started out with attitude, and I think that attitude is really important. I think you have to ask yourself, do you have an attitude about life? Are you a reactor to life's events, or do you have an attitude for life? Are you a creator of the future, or do you have an attitude towards how you're going to make a difference? And you can ask yourself, what's the definition of prosper? How do you prosper? Well, to prosper is to move forward with hope, is to flourish. If you have an attitude where you're going to go after the world, you're going to attack the world with hope in mind that you can make a difference, you're seeking improvement and learning and adaptation for a better future, that's the attitude that's going to bring you success. And to go back to a John Wooden concept or quote, he said, um, the two things you can control are effort and attitude, and that in the present moment. And if you do well, bringing forth your best effort and your best attitude towards trying to make a difference, that is going to result in success. It's not the scoreboard, it's not how things go, because you can have a bad day, but if you still bring forth effort and attitude, you can play poorly well. And that's what makes a difference, because you can have a bad day, but still do a decent job at it. And that's what people are going to remember you about. Because through the long haul, you're going to make a difference. So that's my
No, that's really good.
take on
That's
attitude.
really good. I have a quote here. This quote, I think, dates originally all the way back to the Plato era, and then it was repeated by William Shakespeare, and then in our last book that we read by Michael Hyatt, Your Best Year Ever, he quoted it in there, and it says this. And this is what I also relate to attitude. What happens is of little significance compared with the stories that we tell ourselves about what happened.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing about attitude, because it's not like to have the right attitude is to tell myself the right version of events going on in my life constantly. If I start telling myself a version of events that trigger my ego, that make me feel fearful, that make me feel insecure, right? If that's how I'm explaining how life is happening to me, then my response, my reaction isn't, I'm going to have a bad attitude,
Yeah.
you know? And I have to have, and you have to have a way of self-explanation of saying that, offenses may occur, but don't really take that personally. Don't
Yep.
say that this person personally wants to make me feel a certain way, which we all know no one can make you feel anyway. You choose that feeling. But here in prison, that's an important thing, because everything rides on respect and space. And there's a
Yep.
lot of small innuendos. Remember, we're a microcosm of society, and we're all jammed together. And even, just the distance of the space that we give one another in passing can trigger a very bad reaction or a good reaction.
Yep.
And a lot of times, like, something might brush up against you, but you have to have the ability to give yourself a different narrative. And so that's kind of what I'm telling people today. Give yourself a different narrative. Here's another
Hey,
question.
yeah. Wait a second.
What?
I really like that. I think that's a tool that we need to capture. Is that you are the author of your life. We
Yes.
go back to the Tony Robbins. What things mean. You get to decide what
Yeah.
things mean and how you're going to write it down and remember it. And over time, sometimes they say bad memories will turn better over age. Unless you ruminate on them, and unless you keep on, reviewing them and looking for other ways that you were insulted from that previous experience. Sometimes people go through
Yeah.
life looking to be insulted, looking to be outraged, and they just go from one outrage to another. And it doesn't help that social media and the
Right.
news, that's all they
Right.
want to do is they want to poke your button on outrage, so you come watch their show again tomorrow and see how outrageous
Right.
something else is, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's the national outrage news.
Yeah.
Here's the question that I have for everybody. This is the question I have for you. But this is the question I have for everybody that's listening. What is your core narrative in life? And I know that's kind of like that's a big question. But do you remember the show Wonder Years? Remember that with Kevin and Winnie?
Yeah.
That was in your era. I was young. You were a little bit older than me. You'll always be older than me. But anyways, so the thing about Kevin Arnold in that show, The Wonder Years, is that he was the narrator as well. You know, and the point I want to drive home is that you're the narrator of your life. What narrative are you giving yourself? What version of events are you giving yourself? And that is either inflaming a very negative attitude, which, just like you said, society and social media feed on that.
Yep.
And then we end up with a very reactionary society, cancel culture, all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
And I just need to change my narrative. I cannot change some of the things that are happening to me in life. I can't change that I'm still in prison.
Yeah.
But I can change the attitude that I'm having while I'm in prison.
Well, it goes back to the serenity prayer, right? So,
Yeah.
please grant me to this, the serenity to deal with the things I cannot change, and courage to know the difference, and then something else. But
Yeah, right.
um,
Yeah.
hey, so the last piece, right? So we talked about service, we talked about attitude, and now relationships. And so relationships are vital. They're your lifeblood. You don't want to go through this life by yourself. I feel fortunate to have a very strong relationship with you, beyond the normal cousin relationship, like a brotherly relationship. But I wrote down a bunch of words, right? Brotherhood, sisterhood, family, tribe, ranger buddy, swim buddy. Those two buddies, you know, the military schools that I went through, ranger school and then combat dive school, they taught me to connect with your partner, your buddy, and that person is the one that's going to look out for you and watch your back and make sure you survive in the direst of situations, potential combat, or blacked out conditions on a combat dive where you guys gotta be holding each other's breathing apparatus and making sure the other person's staying alive, right? Or sharing a breathing apparatus, depending on what skill or drill or circumstance you're in. You got fatherhood, you have motherhood, you have blood brothers, you have soulmates, you have community, you have national pride. So all these words, there's lots of meaning embedded in them, and really you need to wake up from in life and realize that your time is short. It is worth your time and energy to invest in positive relationships, because that's what really makes a difference. That's your legacy, and the feeling of love is something that you just it goes by really quick, but it's nice when you feel it and you have that
Well,
connection
let me
with
say
others.
this: we're under a minute left, and I don't. Maybe we'll have. There's another element to this Shears triangle that maybe we'll talk about next week, and it's love, joy, and fulfillment. Or we kind of debate those words a little bit.
Yep.
But the thing about relationships, man, is that it's like a tree. It's like a garden. It has to be nurtured, and you have to be a caretaker of it. And I learned that the hard way. There were some relationships and friendships that I didn't nurture the right way, and so they died.
Yeah.
So listen, 20 seconds. I love you. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in, and also I want to know, what is your core narrative? What are you telling yourself about your life?
Hey, it's great to see you again, Drew. Yep, it's always great to connect. It's great to have a positive attitude with you, to serve a greater purpose, and have a great relationship.